We are back. We are live. Hey, everybody. Tom Britt coming to you from the Zionsville Chamber offices with Allison, the executive director. Thank you for having me and hosting me.
I'm so glad you're here. This is awesome.
This is a really cool setup. You guys do your own podcasting. I've got some microphones and stuff in here. I see your podcast show you guys do, so this room must work pretty well for you guys.
You know what? We are on our 35th podcast that we've done for the Zionsville Chamber, and we're excited to be able to just tell people more about the businesses that are in our membership.
Yeah.
There's so many great things going on here in Zionsville, and it's one of those opportunities that we have to really talk about and focus on, just like on this. People who are doing things in the community, what it really looks like to have a business. There are so many things that are kind of, behind that facade. People have no idea what it takes to run a business or run a business of a certain variety. So
run a business in Zionsville. That's a whole different dynamic too. Just trying to know get the lay of the land and who does what.
Or after a pandemic.
Yes.
What does that look like?
We'll talk about that because, the Zionsville Chamber has really, in my opinion, gone through a renaissance in the last few years. Obviously, you've been executive director during that tenure, so I'm going to give you a lot of credit for this. Okay, so I don't want you to make it too big here, but
keep it in.
but I think COVID threw not just a curveball; it threw a ball at your helmet, essentially. And so, how did you guys pivot during COVID? Because you're mostly event-related, event-driven, sponsorships for events, golf outings, all these things that got canceled or postponed. How did you guys pivot through that?
Well, the first thing I have to say is we have a great team here. And if you don't have a great team and you aren't surrounded by great people who are very creative, it isn't gonna help your business. So surround yourself with great people who have great ideas, because sometimes you get caught in your own head going, oh my gosh, things just closed, or businesses aren't allowing people in, or there's reduced capacity in restaurants. What do you do? And we sat down, we brainstormed, we made sure that at the end of the day, we were thinking outside that proverbial box in order to come up with creative solutions, in order to try to figure out what we're going to do, in order to keep our members at the forefront of everyone's minds. Because if a business is closed, people think, oh, I can't go in and shop with them. Well, how do you get in and shop with them? So we turned to social media, and that became a huge tool in our toolbox. And what we did was we ended up going into people's businesses and doing Facebook Lives, and we called them, I can't think of the name of it now. Keep the lights on. Hey.
Keep the lights on. Here we go.
Keep the lights on. And we did that about every day. And the idea was that we wanted to bring people into people's businesses so they could literally shop in that moment and make sure that people knew, hey, you still can get into a business. It just looks a little different. Or how do you order a carryout? Or what does it look like in order to be able to have a business operating through last year? And as it changed, we just talked to people about those changes and made sure that people knew what it took to have one of those businesses.
And through all that, so you've got, the lockdowns, you've got people shut in, people working from home with their kids, businesses trying to survive, not thrive anymore. It's just a survival mode. How did you still grow the chamber? How do you still grow a chamber membership base when you've got all that working against you?
I think we are very fortunate to have a community that certainly supports our businesses and supports this chamber. But I think that visibility that we were able to provide to our members and through the community gave us a different platform to communicate. And as a result of that, a lot of people found us, and that was fantastic. Last year, we had a record year. We gained 120 new members, which prior to last year, our highest year of growth was 42 members.
Wow. So you tripled the old record.
Record.
Wow.
And I have an even better one. We are within 12 members right now of eclipsing what the 10-year time period prior to last year had gained.
Really?
In 10 years, they gained 222 members. And right now we are within 12 of being able to capture
210 if I'm doing the math right.
Yep. In the past about 20 months is when we've gained those. So we're really excited about this new
and this
milestone.
is a town of Zionsville. This isn't, we're not in Carmel. We're not in a huge metropolis here. We're in a town, one of the few towns left in
Yep.
the state.
That's right.
So what do you, I mean, is that just small town? Is that just locals looking out for locals? I mean, what flavor have you put on the social media to draw all these people out and want to be a member?
Well, I think the biggest thing for us is first, we have great businesses in this town that really wanted that visibility,
Mhm.
and knowing that we were doing more of this,
Yeah.
more of the activity
Engagement.
that was, yes. Yeah.
And people want to see you guys, right?
That's
They want
right.
to see your stuff. We've got some people in the green room. So we do have a couple folks waiting in the lane. So you guys just hang tight. We actually put the link out too on our Facebook and our YouTube feed. If you guys are a local Zionsville business, you'd like to join us live, we'd love to talk to you guys. Our special today is about Zionsville businesses. We are in the Zionsville Chamber offices with Allison, the executive director. And, we had kind of a Zionsville morning and that's why you got the green. I love this dress, by the way.
Thanks.
This address is iconic for you, but also for the chamber and just the town of Zionsville. This green, everybody was commenting about they're all starting to buy green shirts now and green blouses to wear to things. But we had a photo shoot this morning, and we're doing our special women-owned business special edition in October.
Yes.
And last year, we just you helped me. You just put out the word that, hey, we're going to do a photo shoot at the gazebo at Lions Park, and any women-owned businesses want to come out. I think we had like 30 or 40 women show up to be on the front cover. This morning, I think we had 20 or so. I think we got some COVID Delta virus variants coming around. It's kind of nipping us in the bud right now. Talk about women-owned businesses in particular as part of your subset of your members of the chamber.
Sure. So we actually have a number of really strong women-owned businesses. And one of the best things about our chamber is that you really see neighbors looking out for one another.
Mm-hmm.
So through last year, you saw people who were wanting to help those neighbor businesses succeed and really thrive. And, you found women who were teaming up to offer specials at different businesses in order to promote both at the same time. And actually that was happening all throughout our membership. So we have some really strong women businesses that really want to see not only their own business survive and thrive, but those of their neighbors and counterparts as well. And that's a wonderful thing to see in a community, but that's another reason that makes, Zionsville really special and a really strong community. We're about 83% small business in our membership. So we are very small business heavy, but we welcome businesses of all sizes and we represent businesses of all sizes.
Well, we're anxious in October to tell a lot of those stories. We have a lot of women who've come in, if they haven't already. Even if you're out in Zionsville, we're also doing some Carmel and some other markets. But if you come onto our website, townpost.com/woman-owned, you can submit your free listing. We'll promote you for free in October in your home market. And if you're in Zionsville, make sure you get that done here in the next couple of weeks because we're going to be closing it up in September. We do have some folks in our green room. I'm going to bring you ladies in, okay? So make sure you've got everything's all ready to go. And there we go. I see some hands going through the hair. Let's bring these guys in here real quick. So we've got Angie McCloskey, the co-owner of the Zionsville Olive Oil Company and Creative Umbrella. And I think that is Deborah. Is that right?
Yeah, Deborah Hayward.
I'm not hearing any audio from you guys.
Oh, how about me?
Second. Okay, I'm going to unplug my audio. You guys hang with me a second. Hang tight. Now we should be able to hear you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
All right. Sorry, ladies. I'm using a new microphone on a new laptop. Those are two ingredients that never work too well. So we saw you guys at the photo shoot this morning with Sullivan Muntz Cultural Center. So thanks for joining us, and thanks for coming out for the photo shoot today. Angie, I'm going to start with you. Zionsville Olive Oil, who would have thought that people would actually go to a store and buy olive oil, right? I'm not Greek. I don't know that heritage at all. But that you guys have really made quite the business out there. Talk a little bit about where you are and just about what's been like for you the last couple of years.
Yeah. So I started this business with my friend from high school. Julie and I grew up in Fountain County. We both relocated to Zionsville, and we were kind of looking to see what was next in our lives. And both of us had a habit of buying from other stores, olive oil and balsamic vinegars. So we thought, why not? Zionsville needs us. So 4 years ago, we started Zionsville Olive Oil. So we specialize in imported olive oil and balsamic vinegars. And during the pandemic, we kind of shifted gears and we did free local delivery, which we're still doing at this time, is free local delivery.
And so during COVID, how did that impact you? Obviously, you had restricted hours or you couldn't let people in, and 6-foot distancing. I mean, the tastings kind of went away. Did you guys pull through that okay? I mean, is it looking better now that we're kind of in the side view mirror instead of the rear view mirror?
Yeah, it's looking a lot better. So during that, we did shut down for 2 months where we just did the deliveries. And then once we were reopened, we had limited visitors at a time. And then we were serving you samples. We are now back to you helping yourself at tastings. But during that time, we were assisting, gloved up, masked up, and all that. So right. I think we're back to normal at this current day. So
knock on wood, aren't we?
Knock on wood. But people are rediscovering their kitchens. You know, they've cooked the same chicken for now 18 months, and they're looking for a different flavor profile. And just by changing up your oil or your balsamic vinegar, you can make that same dish taste so different. And you need to buy fresh olive oil. You need to know where it comes from. So
that stuff just off the rack at Kroger isn't going to cut it anymore, right?
I hate to say
pick our game up a little bit.
That's one step above motor oil.
Well, at least you're honest, right? I mean,
that's my opinion.
We're not holding punches at Zionsville Olive Oil.
That's my opinion.
They make a really great blood orange brownie that, Angie, tell them about that. Oh, it's like nothing you've ever had.
Blood orange brownie.
So yes, it's a blood orange infused olive oil. And you can use that in any baking recipe that calls for vegetable oil. So we put it in a blood orange, in a Ghirardelli brownie mix, and you get a blood orange brownie.
Oh, wow. That sounds intense.
Off the chain.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, if you come to the store, I'm kind of like the Forrest Gump of shrimp. I can walk down every oil and every vinegar and give you 100 different uses for it. So if you want to be overwhelmed with how to use it, come see Julia, right?
There you go. And so we also have Deborah Hayward. Now, Deborah, I actually got to speak with you a little bit before we left the photo shoot this morning. You have a new graphic design company that happens to be really close to where Angie's at, right?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
I am opening up next week. I'm here right now, but a graphic design studio inside Black Dog Books on Main Street, and really excited about it.
So tell people a little bit about your background. I thought it was interesting because you've ended up here. You've got all this design background, but kind of tell folks how you ended up in Zionsville.
Yeah, so I grew up in Indianapolis on the opposite side of town, also a small town called Wanamaker. I went to Franklin Central, and I went to IU, studied graphic design. My first job out of school, I was designing annual reports for public companies down in Nashville, Tennessee. And that's where I met my husband, who was in the Army. And after following him around for 20 years, he said I could choose where we got to live. And I wanted to move back near family. And when we moved here, he was going to work at Purdue. So Zionsville felt like a good fit, halfway between where I grew up and where he'd be working. So I've been working from home now for about 8 years as a graphic designer. And of course, I worked for various people before that as we moved around. And this space opened up inside Black Dog Books, and I just couldn't resist. It's a beautiful space. And coincidentally, when we first visited Zionsville, Black Dog Books was one of the first places we stopped at and met the owner, Tanya, and she was super welcoming. So I feel like we've come full circle. We've been here 4 years now, and we just love Zionsville.
Wonderful. So any claims to fame on your design? Have you ever designed anything that's like, on the side of a billboard in New York City, or
nothing
design a logo for Coke that they never used? I mean, is there any kind of backstory we need to know about? Something you touched that maybe we would have seen or known?
Nothing on a national level. I did an anti-tobacco campaign, and when I was in Washington State, that they still use. I designed that like 18 years ago, and my husband's from Seattle, and when we go back, I still see the anti-tobacco stuff at the registers everywhere we go. So it's kind of interesting.
That's interesting. So what made you want to step out and get an office outside the home and set up your shingle outside of
I
the
think
books?
it's a combination of things. The space was beautiful. I wanted a place to meet with clients. I've been working from home now for 8 years, but I always had outlets. I always had things that I was involved with that would get me out of the house and meeting with clients. And with the pandemic, I didn't have that. So I'm excited to be able to be more a part of the community, to get more engaged with local, because currently a lot of my clients are on the East Coast and West Coast. And so I'm just excited to work more locally.
Well, it actually, I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun for you where you're at or where you'll be. Do you have a ribbon cutting coming up soon, right?
I do, next Thursday at 3. And gonna have Scoops is gonna come down and do a little ice cream social, so it should be fun.
Ooh, that's pretty good. I didn't know about that. I was going to be there anyway, but
You got the big scissors and some scoops coming down. I mean, man,
Yeah.
hard to miss that. So, and Angie, we didn't get to where you are. You need to tell people where Zionsville Olive Oil is located.
Yeah, so I'm on Pine Street. So I'm right across from my Sugar Pie and next to Roasted in the Village. So
You're right in the heart of the village.
I am in the heart, even though it's off the main street. Pine Street is the next main street.
It's a wood street, right?
Yeah.
All the wood streets are important in Zionsville. Well, guys, thank you guys so much for coming on, and best of luck. You know what? I think I told the folks this morning at the photo shoot. Towne Post is actually a woman-owned business. Jeannie, my wife, she runs the company. I mean, I do the sales and a lot of that stuff, but she really runs the business, and that's why I wanted her to have a majority when we set it up 17 years ago. And I think women-owned businesses are so critical. It's so, I grew up in an era, I'm old enough to know a time when women were secretaries. And when I started having children, I have my daughter, I was like, I don't want my daughter to think that's the only opportunity she can have is to work for some other man. And so we've done all we can as a company to try to promote women-owned businesses, and our business is being one of them. So thank you for what you're doing. And thank you guys for coming on and humoring me with some time to talk about your businesses. And Scoops next week on Thursday. What time's that ribbon cutting again, Deborah?
At 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. So everybody come on out. It's Black Dog Books. Just come out there, get some ice cream, ribbon cutting. You'll be out there doing some stuff.
Yep.
All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna dump you out now, as I said this morning, which means you go back to the green room.
Thank
Stick
you.
around and join us if you want to. All right. So I think it's just interesting. I think when you look at Zionsville, you look at some other chambers, okay? And I work with a lot of them, not just here in Indiana. We have some in Kentucky we work with as well. And I just think you guys have something special here. I can't put my finger on it, but I think if I had to kind of put, like, what's that seasoning that's on top that's attracting so many people? I just think it's that personality. It's that flavoring of everybody matters here.
everybody does matter here.
And I haven't. I think you welcomed us with open arms when you came in, and I know that other businesses have had that same welcoming approach. And I think it's just that chamber that we all remembered from years gone back. It's kind of back, and it's back even better with social media and cooler events and dinner downtown on the bricks. I mean, all these different events that are happening. So hats off to you, Allison, for all you've done. And I know the board, you got a volunteer board that steps up monthly and sometimes probably daily for you to, advice or guidance or whatever they do.
Without their support, we wouldn't be able to get done nearly what we do. And it takes a team. And the old adage of it takes a village. Well, we're in a village, so
one of the few left.
That's right.
Actually, one of the very few left. Well, it's so funny. I think I told you a story before, but my wife and I, we the very first date we took was to Zionsville. We came up here and had We had dinner at Adam's Rib. Remember that?
You know, it's been a moment.
It's been a moment, but we had dinner there, and then we drove around, and there was an antique shop, and I don't even remember now where it was. It's been so long ago, but we stopped in this antique shop, and we bought this little teapot, a little ceramic teapot. It's like an antique teapot. We both just kind of liked it, and we kept it. Well, we still have it now. It's at home in our dining. It's in our den.
Yeah.
It's in our den up on the shelves. And this was the place we were wanting to live when we got married. And we eventually, our offices moved to the northeast side, so we gravitated to be more towards Castleton. So our offices were in Park 100. So it was right up the street to come up here. And so we ended up living and raising our kids in Geist, but Zionsville was like right there. So we were just talking last week. We were like, we need to go back to Zionsville and have some dinner one night. We need to go back there, and because our kids are all grown and gone, and we're becoming free agents to live wherever we want.
Well, and I think this is the kind of charm
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of towns are trying to recreate.
Oh,
and we have.
You've already got it.
Right. And, speaking of some of the businesses that used to be here, Adam's Rib, this is our 60th anniversary this year.
Right.
So over at Sullivan Muntz, we were going through the historical documents, and we were looking at some of the businesses that have been here in the past, and, some of the hat shops and the men's dress shop. Very much, tailors, and those that have kind of come before the businesses that are here have really set a precedence for what kind of businesses people expect to find in Zionsville. And like that, you remember buying a teapot in Zionsville whenever you were here.
Right.
How many other people are going to come to Zionsville and have that same type of experience now?
Right. I think one of the big pushes you guys did last year too, which I really enjoyed, it was that whole getting married in Zionsville.
Yes.
That whole wedding, what's called wedding open house of sorts.
Yes.
At the what was that? The Brick Street Inn, I
Sure
think you guys
is.
hosted at that.
Yeah.
So how was that received? Because do you have a lot of brides and grooms coming, mostly probably brides coming through, just looking for ideas about getting married in Zionsville?
Well, and that's the idea. So Zionsville does have that charm and that wonderful feel for weddings. We also know that as a town, if we're able to attract kind of a boutique style wedding, someone who's looking to have that 50, 75 up to maybe 150 people or so type of wedding in our town, we're also drawing in all those guests who want to stay in this area, who want to come in and shop and want to dine, and are going to spend some time. And then they're going to go, that place was darling. I'm going to come back with my family. I'm going to come back with my friends. I'm going to make it a girls' weekend. They're going to do all those things. So if we can attract more weddings, and what that really is that's going to bolster tourism for Zionsville.
Right. And just, people getting to know what Zionsville is. You
Exactly.
really have to get up here. It's really off the beaten path. There's no highway nearby, so you kind of have to come over here and see it. But once you see it, you'll fall in love with it like everybody else does. And even we did 25 years ago. Jeannie and I did the same thing. Well, you guys, thank you so much. Thanks for hosting us today.
Oh, thank you.
Again, ZionsvilleChamber.org if you guys want more information about joining the chamber. And also, if you go to townpost.com, click on the woman-owned there's a little banner ad there. If you just click on that, you can submit your woman-owned business to be included in one of our local magazines here in Central Indiana. Allison, thanks again.
Thank you.
It's been
Appreciate
wonderful.
it.
We're going to sign off now, but you guys, please have a good week. And don't forget, next Thursday at 3:00, don't forget to go over and see Deborah at Creative Umbrella, her ribbon cutting. She's going to have ice cream there at 3:00. So show up with a lot of kids, all right? Take care, everybody.